Well, each week, a group of insiders joins me to offer perspective, to sound off on some of the state's top stories. This week, Eli Lilly and Company with the big plans, a $400 million plan to expand in Indy. Brian Bosma leaving the Indiana Statehouse, the Indiana legislature, and a lot more. And joining me this week are Kaannan and Associates founder and principal Aubrey Annan. Also, Content by Carter president and CEO Cam Carter. And Ice Miller, partner in charge of client relations, Melissa Proffitt. And welcome one and all to the Insiders for another edition. As I mentioned off the top, Eli Lilly and Company with major news this week. $400 million investment, significant, obviously, nearly 100 high-paying jobs. For the size of the investment, 400 mil. I say only 100 jobs, they're important, but you know, I think it's reflective of technology, automation, and a lot of things that are just part of the industry.
I absolutely agree with that. It's a wonderful investment by a wonderful corporate citizen, fabric of our community. And I do think that $400 million in capital, creating 100 high-paying jobs, those are very, very highly skilled jobs. I think it speaks to their investment in automation, perhaps robotics, AI, these other technologies that are going to require a very high skill set. Yeah. So we'll see a lot of capital investment. You know, the ratio, almost $4 million in capital invested per job.
An announcement like this, Melissa, from any company, but especially Lilly, such an iconic company, and everyone always wonders what's next, what's the future like for Lilly. I think when people see this kind of investment, they kind of maybe breathe a sigh of relief. It's a big news.
I think it's a complete sigh of relief. You're on your edge of your seat all the time wondering if they're going to be purchased, move, leave. Right. They not only announced that this is for current medicines that they have, future drugs that they have in the pipeline, and we know that they're here to stay for a while. And so I think that is significant. I thought it was also very interesting they made a comment about tax reform having a lot to do with making this decision. I really haven't seen many companies surprisingly give credit to tax reform for that, and they talked a lot about the number of U.S. jobs they have. So I think they're really proud to be here in the United States, and in particularly in Indiana.
Yeah, interesting point. I remember Dave Ricks being kind of on the stump for tax reform several years ago, talking about the need for that that could lead to expansion. Lilly, an iconic traditional company, if you will. On the flip side, young emerging companies beginning to pop up all over the state of Indiana, in particular here in central Indiana. High Alpha this week announced its latest spin-out company, Base. Aubrey, as you look at that company and what High Alpha is doing with spinning out so many new cool tech companies, a different vibe, if you will, in Indianapolis, but one that's important.
Yeah, I think it's very important. It's great to see High Alpha, what they're doing. I think this also resonates as Indy's become this echo chamber of technology innovation, not just companies, but also tech investments, right? So they've invested in companies like Xylo, Cured, and other big companies that have gone on to acquired by larger companies. So I think this investment fits within that portfolio, and which is very niche SaaS platform that I think will do great things.
Yeah. News from the State House this week, big news. Brian Bosma, the Speaker of the House, announcing he's stepping down, be leaving the State House.
Well, we went to law school together, so I've known the gentleman for a really long time. I'm 34 sessions since they're there since 1986. He has an amazing wealth of knowledge, institutional knowledge, networks, relationships. He is someone that was laser deep. Tackled many huge, important issues for our state, whether it was right to work or funding, private vouchers. But I think there are a couple of other really important things that he has done. He was a real strong leader of his caucus, and he had the respect of all of his members. And I actually think this is the end of an important era for Marion County, because he's represented our interests very, very well. And he's been just an incredibly strong leader.
Yep.
Yeah, probably the most significant House Speaker since a gentleman by the name of Otis Bowen in terms of Indiana politics. And Brian is a friend very skilled at keeping his caucus together and keeping his eye on large strategic issues for the state of Indiana. Not a career without a misstep. No one has that. But a really remarkable record and been a terrific partner for a number of governors, and almost playing a shadow governor sometimes.
Interesting, yeah. Also need to talk about an issue that is a national issue, certainly with Indianapolis implications, because the NCAA is certainly headquartered here. The Board of Governors at the NCAA really opening the door for compensating student athletes for image and likeness. Aubrey, you are a student athlete, tennis player at Butler.
That's right. So
you've got interesting perspective.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. Yeah. But there's still a lot to unpack there. I mean, I can remember my morning starting at 6:30 in the morning and then not getting back to my studies around 11 or 12, right? So that doesn't leave you a lot to work, right? So basically affording basic necessities as a college athlete becomes very challenging. So I think, you know, the modern college athlete has evolved, right? Their needs, their experience have changed, right? They're now more connected to fans. They're now more connected to brands than ever, right? With the digital and media technology. So in a free market, that is creating some economic value that somebody's going to pay for, right? Yeah. So I think that, you know, this will help students, right, become, you know, student athletes rather than focusing on surviving in college.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it also points out, I don't know that the NCAA necessarily wanted to do this. I think they were conflicted studying it.
Yep.
It shows the power of California as a market maker and a leader. Very interesting turn of events.
And will be interesting to watch develop over the course of the coming months. Cam Carter, Melissa Proffitt, Aubrey Annan. Thank you both, thank you three for being here. We'll be right back after this.
Thank you.
Thank you three. Yeah.